Several days ago, a few Democratic senators participated in a filibuster in order to get a vote on some gun reform legislation. And they were successful. A few days later, they actually did have a vote in the Senate on four gun control measures. They all failed. Of course, we all expected that to happen. So today, in the House of Representatives, Democrats are staging a sit-in to protest and actually get a vote in the House of Representatives on, some gun reform. So, I mean, they're looking tough. Looks like they're doing the right thing. I wish I could say that I believed in them 100%. I don't. I think this is about grandstanding, and I think it's about the optics of, looking like they're doing what's right. But let's not forget, just a few years ago, the Democrats had a majority in the Senate and in the House, and we didn't see any of this kind of tough stance on guns before. We heard it a lot in their rhetoric, but we didn't see any movement like this. So, it's people like Obama and former Representative Barney Frank that, they say things like, well, look, the constituency, we need to make sure we vote in the midterm elections to make sure that we get a majority of Democrats in the House and Senate and we keep it. Well, you had it before. You didn't do anything with it. What'd you give us? Obamacare without a public option? You didn't do anything on guns. So, like I said, I think this is more about grandstanding and looking like they're doing what's right. But at least they're doing that. The Republicans, on the other hand, my goodness. So these four gun control measures that were voted on in the Senate were about keeping suspected terrorists on the federal terror watch list, preventing them from buying guns. And they were also about expanding background checks, closing loopholes. It wasn't even about universal background checks, like establishing actual universal background checks for every single gun purchase in America. And they still voted it down. Also, today, once the Democrats started staging this sit-in, the Republicans shut off the cameras because they don't want anybody to see this. They don't want anybody looking at what's going on in the House right now, because that would bring a lot more awareness to it. So all of this, it strikes me as pretty embarrassing, actually. Republicans and a lot of their supporters, especially supporters that believe so fervently in the Second Amendment, they feel like any gun control measures are like infringing on their rights, creating a slippery slope, things like this, right? But none of these votes that were in the Senate had anything to do with taking away people's guns at all. Nothing. Nowhere in the votes had anything to do with creating a registry, banning assault rifles, or taking any guns away from anybody. So, why did it fail? Why did it fail? I would surmise that it has something to do with money in politics, lobbying in politics, special interest in politics. I would surmise that that's what it's about. Because we've been hearing for years that be scared, Obama's coming for your guns. We've heard that for almost 7.5 years now. Obama is coming for your guns. Look out. And it's led to an increase in gun sales in America. What it has not led to is anybody's guns being taken away. So if that's what you're scared of, I'd like to ask anybody that's watching this, why, when the vast majority of Americans, including Republicans, people that identify with Republican, with the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, over 90% of Americans believe in universal background checks. That would make it so that in every gun sale, it's mandated that you have to pass a background check. So if there's something in that background checks that should prevent you from buying a gun, you won't be able to buy a gun. That has nothing to do with keeping a gun out of any law-abider's hands. So, why did the Republican Party vote no? Why did they vote no? I like to ask that to anybody watching. Please tell me, why should the Republican Party vote in opposition to background checks, to expanded background checks? Seems to me this has more to do with donors than it has to do with protecting the American people.